It was a Tuesday, just a normal Tuesday. Mark was on his usual bus, looking at his phone. He did this every morning. Home to work, work to home. He knew the route perfectly. He could almost do it with his eyes closed. Then one evening the bus stopped. There was a problem with the engine. The driver told everyone to get off. Mark stood on the sidewalk. He looked at his phone. The next bus would come in 45 minutes. It was a warm evening. He looked down the long city street. He made a decision. He would walk. He would walk home. The first few blocks were familiar. The big bank, the coffee shop where he never went, the newsstand. But soon, he passed a small street he had never noticed. It was a narrow street with old trees. Their branches met in the middle like a green tunnel. There was a small fountain there. Water trickled quietly. An old man was sitting nearby, feeding pigeons. Mark stopped for a moment. He listened to the water. He felt the cool air from the fountain. He had lived in the city for 10 years. He never knew this place existed. The next day, Mark did not take the bus. He walked again. This time, he turned left instead of right. He found a small park. It was not a famous park. It was just a square of grass with a few benches. Children were playing. A woman was reading a book. A man was drawing in a sketchbook. Mark sat on a bench for 5 minutes. He watched the children run. He felt the sun on his face. It was a simple feeling, a feeling of peace. He made it a new habit. Every day, he walked home a different way. He became an explorer of his own city. He found a bakery that sold bread still warm from the oven. The smell was incredible. He found a tiny shop that repaired only clocks. He could hear them ticking from the street. He found a wall where local artists painted beautiful pictures. The pictures changed every month. One day it was a forest. The next month it was an ocean. But it was not just about places. It was about people. On a street with old houses, he saw an elderly woman in her garden. She was watering flowers. She smiled at him. He smiled back. The next day, she was there again. This time, she waved. On the third day, she said, "Good evening." Her name was Mrs. Ellis. She told him she had lived in that house for 60 years. She said the street was much quieter now, but she loved her garden. Mark began to look forward to seeing Mrs. Ellis and her bright red flowers. He discovered a short street closed to cars. It was a pedestrian street with little tables and chairs. People sat there, drinking coffee and talking. The sound was not of traffic, but of laughter and conversation. He saw a young couple holding hands. He saw friends sharing a story. He saw a man playing chess against himself. Life was happening here, slowly, happily. One rainy afternoon, Mark walked down a street he had avoided. It looked gray and boring. But there, under a dark bridge, he saw something amazing. Someone had painted a huge, beautiful mural. It was a painting of a sunrise over mountains. The colors were bright and full of hope. It was a gift hidden in a dark place. It made Mark smile in the rain. It was a secret between the artist and whoever found it. Mark started to see his city differently. It was not just a place of work and home. It was a living thing. Every street had a story. Every building had a history. The city was made of small moments. The smell of rain on hot concrete. The sound of a violin from an open window. The taste of a fresh peach from a fruit stand. The feeling of cool shade on a hot day. He began to feel a connection. He was not just passing through. He was a part of this place. He started to say hello to the shopkeepers. He learned the name of the barista at the small coffee cart. He nodded to the other walkers he saw regularly. He was no longer invisible. He was a person in a community. One evening, his path took him past his own office building. He looked up at the window of his office. He saw the clean glass, the empty desk. From down here, it looked so small. It was just one window in a sea of windows. He realized his life was so much bigger than that one room. His world had grown with every step he took. The walks became his favorite part of the day. They were not about exercise. They were about discovery. They were about being present. He noticed how the light changed with the seasons. He saw the first yellow leaf of autumn. He saw the first Christmas decoration in a shop window. He saw the snow covering the streets in a soft, quiet blanket. He even started walking on weekends. He explored neighborhoods far from his own. He found a river he never knew was there. He walked along its path for miles. He saw people fishing. He saw families having picnics. He saw birds diving into the water. The city was full of these beautiful, quiet worlds. One day, Mrs. Ellis was not in her garden. Mark felt a small worry. The next day, he saw her through the window. She motioned for him to come to the door. She was not feeling well. She asked him a small favor. Could he water the flowers? Mark felt honored. He carefully watered the red flowers. He felt he was caring for something important. He was caring for a piece of beauty. Time passed. Mark's collection of routes grew. He had a map in his mind, filled with secret treasures. The hidden fountain, the clock repair shop, the mural under the bridge, Mrs. Ellis's garden. He realized that happiness is often not a grand thing. It is a collection of small, beautiful moments. It is noticing the world around you. It is being curious. It is saying hello. He still worked in his office. He still lived in his apartment. But he was not the same person. He was Mark, who knew the city. He was Mark, who smiled at strangers. He was Mark, who found beauty in unexpected places. His heart felt lighter. His mind felt calmer. He had discovered the simple, profound joy of walking home a different way. The city was no longer a map to cross quickly. It was a story to read slowly, one step, one street, one small discovery at a time.